Post-match analysis for Chat with Chaps, where it finished at Loftus Road. QPR 1, Millwall 1. Really frustrating because we deserved more. We really did. You can't keep saying it, but it was a good performance. And I think it was our best performance of the season outside of the Sheffield Wednesday game. How refreshing is it to see a Millwall side that look comfortable on the ball, creating lots of chances, playing some good football, and genuinely were really trying to win the game. And it's ironic because their goal comes from us pushing too many bodies forward, which is something that, you know, notoriously is uncharacteristic of Millwall. It's frustrating because I'm genuinely I'm genuinely enjoying watching my team play at the minute. I finished watching the game yesterday, and I felt, despite us not winning the game, obviously frustrated, but I'm enjoying it. When's the last time you could say that? 6 games, 5 points is not a fair reflection. And I'll argue that with anyone. I'm not usually as direct with my opinions on here, but I will argue with anyone we deserve to have more points. Yes, you could say you get what you deserve, fine. But the game is not lived on XG and whatever, and I know that. But factually, in terms of XG for and against, we're a playoff team. We're in the top 4. So we do deserve more points than we're getting. I'm hoping it will turn, because if it don't, we can't keep sitting here saying that. We can't be 20 games in and going, oh, well, we've only got 18 points, but we're playing really well. So I guess my overall point is we are playing really well. We're playing some really good football. The progression in the style is exactly that sweet spot for me. And if we had just won yesterday, I honestly think everyone would be coming off that and being like, wow, you know, what a performance. So it's really frustrating. But look, let's get into it. So starting off with the team that started. So one change, which was, of course, Macaulay Langstaff starting in place of the injured Josh Coburn, who's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. We unfortunately learned the news in the week that Callum Scanlon will also be out for anywhere between 8 weeks and 16 weeks. He's got a stress fracture in his back. But one welcome surprise was Jake Cooper back into the starting lineup. And as Neil Harris said in his post-match interview, there's not many players that can come off at half-time in one game because they can't continue, but be fit and play 90 minutes the next week. So that's just testimony to his professionalism and his ability to keep fit. It is remarkable, to be honest. But that meant the team was Lucas Jensen in goal, back 4 right to left of Ryan Leonard, Japhet Tanganga, Jake Cooper, Joe Bryan, Casper Denor and George Saville, and then a front 4 of Romain Esse, George Honeyman, Duncan Watmore and Macaulay Langstaff. Another interesting one was obviously Mikhailo Ivanovic announced to be on the bench, and he was to come on for 15 minutes towards the end to get his Millwall debut. But look, first of all, I want to say, you know, I wasn't there yesterday. I'm going to struggle to get to many away games this year for sort of personal reasons. But as always, I watch the games, I analyse them. So yeah, hopefully you still believe my opinion's valid despite not being there. But I just want to say a massive credit to all of the fans at Word. I think it was 1,1800. Well, we sold it out, whatever we got. And there was only one team you could hear on Sky TV with some very amusing chants to do with Sky, Fire Sticks, Big Serbians. So no, for those of you that went, absolutely outstanding, really, really good. I thought it was a great atmosphere from our perspective. Certainly you could hear that. And for me, there was just one team that was playing much better football. I thought QPR was slow and lethargic. And I genuinely think Saito and Dembele are good players. They're good players. But you take Frey out of that team and we win yesterday. Genuinely, he was the difference maker. He is, I'd love him at Millwall, by the way. He is exactly what we need. A super goal, super finish for his goal, and his defensive work as well, which I'm going to talk about, was outstanding. He was the difference maker for them, for sure. But let's get into the game as we always do. So, you know, the first half, I'm going to talk through a few opportunities here, but the first half, for majority of it, we looked comfortable and we looked comfortable on the ball. It was un-Millwall-like at times to go away from home. And yeah, they had more possession, but most teams do against us. But it's always at the back where teams are not hurting us. But from that midfield to the attacking part, we were in control. We were playing some nice stuff through the lines. It was clear that what we were trying to do, we kind of got two ways of playing now. The first way is basically to try and shift the team from right to left. So to try and therefore create spaces down the sides, using sort of Joe Bryan and Ryan Leonard to sort of play the balls down the sides into the channels in between the centre back and the full back. That's one way of playing. And the second way, which I think is a development this season, is basically giving the ball to Casper Denor and George Saville and then playing it into the likes of Romain Esse on the turn. And because Romain Esse's got so much ability, he is able to take the ball on the turn. And there's no stat I can show you, unfortunately, that talks to that. But that boy is just... He will be in the Premier League in the next 18 months, like playing. I guarantee it. He is that good. But talking about specific chances, so I've noted down here again a sort of a long ball that Cook doesn't deal with, and Langstaff, I think it's on 11 minutes. Again, just he's sort of hassling and pressing. He gets the ball, but then Cook does well to recover to take it just as he's about to take a shot on goal. 20 minutes, we win the ball back. I don't know if it was Joe Bryan or George Honeyman, but we win the ball back. Again, high press, creating a turnover in their half. And SA shoots comfortable save from Nardi, low at his post. Then there was another chance on 22 where Langstaff on the turn after, again, a counter from a throw-in where decent turn and shot into the side netting. So, there's three chances there already. They're half chances, admittedly. They then have a really good chance, which Saito does well to get to the byline. Saito up against Esse was a little bit of a mismatch at times when he was able to find himself one-on-one against Esse. And he passes it back to Anderson, and it is a superb block from the man that got his 200th Millwall appearance yesterday, George Saville. It's a brilliant block. To be honest, if that's on target, it's hit at such pace and it's so close proximity to the goal. That's probably a goal, in fairness. So it is a very, very, very good block from George Saville, and all the players rushed to him to thank him because they realised just how good it was. However, we then go and score our goal, and make no mistake about this. This is a superb footballing team goal. The ball, I think, is with Saville. He finds Ryan Leonard. Ryan Leonard waits. He then passes a superb ball into Macaulay Langstaff, who turns, gets it out of his feet, goes to the byline, cuts it back. Superb awareness from George Honeyman to kind of just leave it, let it go. It goes to the coolest man in the stadium, Duncan Watmore, calmly picks his spot in the corner, 1-0 Millwall. By the way, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Jimmy Dunn or whoever, but they obviously tried to save it with their hands. I can only assume because the ball had gone past the net, it doesn't count. But I don't know. Like, I didn't feel a lot was made of that yesterday. Yeah. So we go 1-0 up, and Duncan Watmore's fifth goal of the season. What a machine he's turning into. He's unfortunately, there is another player that keeps scoring, Josh Madger for West Brom. What a start they've had, by the way. And he gets his fifth goal of the season. Superb. The ball from Ryan Leonard is outstanding, by the way, into Macaulay Langstaff. Really, really good sort of threaded pass, a really good footballing goal. And to be honest, I felt we deserved that on the balance of play. Yes, they had that chance with Anderson, but overall I felt we deserved that. But unfortunately, not too long later, we find ourselves back at level terms. So again, we win the ball high up the pitch. Sorry, it's not high up the pitch. It's sort of in the middle of the park. The ball finds its way to Joe Bryan. Again, we're countering attacking. We're throwing people forward. We're committing men forward, which is good to see. But unfortunately for us, what happens is because we put too many men forwards, they are then to counter our counter, and they end up scoring a goal. I've tried to analyse this one, and it's difficult because Joe Bryan, obviously, it's not the best cross, but it's not. I can't. I don't think we can scapegoat Joe Bryan here. I don't think it's completely his fault, but he's out of position. Casper De Norre finds himself a little bit out of position. And then what happens is Cooper's caught between going towards, I think it's Dembele and then Frey. He decides to go to Dembele last minute. He slips in Frey. Tanganga tries to get there. He can't. And then Frey, really good finish, lifts it over Lucas Jensen. Could Lucas Jensen have done better? I don't know. I've not seen enough angles of it. But it's a good finish. And as I said, Michael Frey was a thorn in our side the whole game. It was a good finish. I don't know what his celebration was about, by the way. I found that very strange. There's probably something in it. I don't know. Maybe some QPR fans, if you're listening, can tell me. And it's half time, and it's frustrating because I felt we dominated the bits that matter in that first half, but we went in at 1-1. The second half was a real sort of derby. I think, it was at times, there was a period, I think I've written down here, between sort of 60 and 70 where it was, really kind of hotting up. Lots of chances for either end, and we'll talk a bit about those. But just before I do, I've written down here a couple of set piece deliveries from Ryan Leonard. I think it was Saville, Honeyman. Our set pieces was where we could have won the game yesterday. And that is one thing that I think over the course of the season hasn't been good enough. Our set piece delivery, our corners, our free kicks. We need to have someone different taking our free kicks when their shots on goal. I'm sorry, but and listen, this is not discrediting George Saville and George Honeyman because they're great at what they do, but free kick takers from 25 yards out, I'm not so sure. Yes, George Saville scored 2 up against Sunderland when the keeper had a mare, but to me, he's not a free kick taker. Could we put Rom over them? Could he do much worse? I don't know. But that was poor today. I thought overall our set piece delivery was really poor. We had 10 corners to their 5. And I think combination of our delivery and then, like I said, take Michael Frey out of it. He was the one that won a lot of their first contacts in the box from our corners in. We have to do better with them. And the amount of balls into the box we had 24 throw-ins, obviously 10 corners. We've got to maximise these. We deliberately try and win fouls on the halfway line to get balls into the box. If we're going to do that, we've got to do better with some of these deliveries, and we've got to make more of it. And that was one of the real disappointing things, I think, from today. You score one of them, and it's a completely different game. But the first chance of note on 52, Joe Bryan, some good link-up play, finds himself up the pitch, finds Langstaff. Langstaff plays a 1-2, finds George Honeyman, tries to bend it into the far corner, but just wide. A note here as well by the commentary on Sky. They talked a bit about how great our squad depth is that Callum Scanlon can't get in the squad. Well, it's because Callum Scanlon has got a stress fracture in his back. That's why he can't get in the squad, because he's injured. Just do your research, guys. Seriously, or come on, chat with chaps, and I can fill you in. Then we have another chance on 63. De Norre wins the ball, finds Langstaff. We win a corner. There's a shot from Saville. On 65, Tanganga makes a very uncharacteristic error, gives the ball away. But Leonard, again, not quite Swansea-esque, where he makes that recovery run and super tackle. They didn't show this in the highlights, but another outstanding tackle from Ryan Leonard. I think it was on Anderson, who I felt was representative. Anderson, he's clearly got ability, but he just was so slow. I felt QPR really slow. I felt like if you took Dembele out of their side, maybe Saito to a point, they had less pace than us, and that's saying something. We're not the quickest team. They moved the ball so slowly. A lot is made of this Marty Cifuentes as a manager, and I felt we played better stuff. Again, Sky were saying what a great job he's done and he's transformed them. Well, they spent a lot more money than we have in the summer, and I think we're a better side, and I'm sure if Ben or Martin, two QPR lads that I know are listening to this, I think they would agree that we played far better football than they did yesterday. But yes, we can't keep saying that these other sides don't play good stuff without giving us credit, though. We must be doing something right from a shape perspective. However, then a minute later, and this was that period where it was quite sort of fractious, but Tanganga makes up for that loose pass with a super block. The ball is fed in. It might be Anderson again. He was finding good pockets, and he comes out and makes a super block again for a goal-bound effort. Certainly on target, I think, from Anderson. Really, really good block on 66. They then get a corner on 67, and Jensen just doesn't fill me with confidence. He sort of flaps at it. He then moaned at SA, who did his job on the front post and headed it. If you're going to come as a keeper, you've got to get it. That's the bottom line. And Jensen's confidence does worry me. I've called it out 2 weeks in a row now. That does concern me somewhat. Speaking of what more then, from the resulting second corner, again, just drives us up the pitch 60 yards. I think we win a throw-in. Nothing comes of this, but it's just that willingness to take the ball and just to get it up the pitch. He's a willing runner. He's just got everything, Duncan Watmore, hasn't he? He's got that trickery. He's a goal threat. He's got the work rate. Brilliant player. Then Tanganga off the line on 71. Really, really good. I think it's a ball headed back across the goal. Was it Clark Salter? I wasn't sure. Javit Tanganga off the line. Not sure if it was going in, to be fair, from the angles I've seen. But again, right place, right time, Javit Tanganga. Then on 72, we go back up the other end of the pitch. Some really good play from Romain Esse. Trickery, brought down. The amount of times he was fouled yesterday was, again, just testimony to how difficult and tricky he is to deal with. Always available in those pockets to take the ball on the turn and run at players. And then again, another example, we got a decent free kick again, 72 minutes. Joe Bryan over it this time, but he goes over the bar. And it was very windy yesterday. So why we took all of our free kicks to try and aim for the top corner? Why don't we just go low and hard? I don't understand it. And on 74, we make the substitutions. Duncan Watmore ran himself into the ground, obviously got his goal, and Langstaff, who got his assist, come off. And then the introduction of Femi Aziz and, of course, Mihailo Ivanovic for his first taste in a Millwall shirt. And Ivanovic and Aziz both have a hand in the chance that we create on 78, where the ball is, I think it's Mihailo feeds Aziz. Aziz kind of gets himself up the pitch, waits. Romain Esse does superbly, takes the ball on the turn, again, drives into the box. He knows they have to bring him down if they don't, cuts the ball back. It is brilliant. And I'm just going to flick this up on screen. How, from this point, does that ball not go in the net? That is just, it's mind-boggling. But what I would say is no one will know that more than George Honeyman. And I'm going to defend George Honeyman because, and I think this is one where I might get some slack for it, but that's fine. I'm just giving my opinion. George Honeyman is not a typical number 10. He's like a false 10. He is not there. And you're going to go, well, why is he playing in 10 if he's not there to score goals and get assists? He is there to obviously do that, but his role is so vital to the way in which we set up defensively and our shape and the pressing. He sets the tone for the pressing. He said in his interview that he's he was always good at cross country. The guy is a machine. And it says a lot about him that as soon as he missed that chance, pretty much every player went and consoled him. You know, whether it was Ivanovic went up and consoled him. Esse, again, young lad showing really good maturity, by the way, to do that. He will be so frustrated. And I think you could tell for like the last 10 minutes, you could just tell he was distraught with himself. So, yes, it's an absolute sitter. It's not good enough for a professional football. I don't care whether you're a 10 or a goalkeeper. You should be scoring that. He will know that. It's not the first time this season he should have scored. However, I believe he's so fundamental to how we are setting up to play this season that I wouldn't change it. And for those saying that we should put Esse in the 10, we basically do get Esse in the 10, even with Honeyman there, because they constantly switch. You know, that chance was created by Esse on the left-hand side. So, look, I might get a lot of flack for that, but he's got to score, and it's shocking, and he will be just as distraught. But I do believe that people need to realise just how much George Honeyman brings to this team. If you didn't listen to it before, we did the stat show that talked a bit about that and just some of the things that he's brought to this team. And I'm sure the goals will come. He's getting in good positions. That's 3 now, wasn't it? It was against Watford, Portsmouth in the cup, and then yesterday. He should have at least 3 goals. So yeah, disappointed, of course, and that wins the game. But we do have more opportunities to win the game. And this is the frustrating thing. You know, I think we had 3 or 4 corners in quick succession at the end. And we do create one more really good chance with Femi Aziz on 91. Again, just nice sort of build-up play. I think it's from a second phase of a corner. And it's a good save from Paul Nardi. From Aziz. I don't think Aziz could do much more. There was a lot of bodies in there. If he tried to go the other side of the goalkeeper, he sort of went, maybe he could have gone a little bit lower, but he tried to sort of go low and hard, and we didn't. And this is what I mean. You know, we had 3 or 4 corners in quick succession. These are where we have to make our moments count. Some of the deliveries were good, some of them weren't. And the game ends 1-1. And it is so frustrating to have not taken that chance with Honeyman, to have not got something more from the corner. But how exciting is it to go away from home to QPR? And in my opinion, the last 10, 15 minutes, there was only one side that was going to win it. And we were throwing the kitchen sink at it. And like for years of watching Gary Rowett ball, it's just exciting. And in my opinion, this is the best stuff I've seen Millwall play consistently, other than, and you've got to take the 10, 15-minute spells under Joe Edwards. For 10, 15 minutes, we looked like Barcelona. I remember against Middlesbrough, we looked unreal, but then we lost the game. So it doesn't matter. We're getting closer to that balance. If we can play like this, but just maybe, you know, if we hadn't committed bodies forward yesterday on that counter-attack, we like it's always but some maybes. And like I said earlier, you can't sit here all season and saying we're exciting to watch. I enjoy watching my team. We're playing good football, and not have the points to back it up, right? But we're 6 games in. If we're still saying this after 12, then fine. But I think we need to give it a little bit more time before we can jump to any sort of conclusions. And again, I'm just going to throw up on the screen now some stats. And I'm going to read this out for those of you listening on a podcast. But I'm just trying to highlight just how much sort of better we were yesterday. XG, they had an XG of 0.7. We have an XG of 1.9. We're averaging an XG of almost 2 goals per game. You know, we should be scoring 2 goals per game, and yesterday was no different. Touches in the penalty area, they had 14. We had 30, over double the amount of touches in the penalty area. We made 13 interceptions to their 2, and we made 24 tackles to their 17, of which 13 were from an attacker versus their 5. So the point there is we are pressing more, we're tackling more than other teams, more interceptions, and they're also from players further up the pitch, which again alludes to that ability to break play up further up the pitch and then counter, which is this kind of style that we're trying to play. 24 crosses into the box yesterday versus their 11. 35 loose ball recoveries to their 22. We're first to the second ball. We're just in everything to do with the effort levels, the physicality, the press, the shape, the structure. We are better than other teams. But at the moment, it's just not translating into points. And like I said, I want to give it a few more games before we start. You know, we've got Preston next week. We should be looking to win that game. We've got Cardiff coming up. These are games where we then have to say, okay, fine. Because in isolation, a point away at QPR isn't the worst point in the world. But we then have to turn that into a victory in those games. Right. I'm going to go through my view of sort of performance levels. So I've gone with 2 men of the match. There are others, and I'm going to talk about that. But for me, I've gone man of the match joint for Japhet Tanganga and Romain Esse for 2 similar but different reasons. So the first reason is they are both Premier League quality. Simple as that. They are both just, in my opinion, a step above. And being a Millwall fan, I'm not used to seeing that quality in my team. So yeah, they are both just fantastic. At times, Tanganga yesterday, even if it's just like little simple, he just makes things look so easy. And then, of course, two vital, one off the line and a super block within the space of 5 minutes yesterday. I think for his defensive duties was excellent yesterday. And then Romain Esse, just for his... There's no stats I can show you, but even on the minute 95, he did a flick that was just class. He's progressing each and every single game. He's the one that we're trying to give the ball to. As I said before, he can take it on the turn. He can take it in tight areas. He can beat a man. He's the player for our team that's beaten the most amount of opposition players this season. He's the player for us that has progressed the ball up the pitch more than anyone else this season from an attacking standpoint. He is just a joy to watch. He's exciting. He gets you off your seat. You never know what he can do. And he should have had another assist yesterday because it was him who put the ball across for George Honeyman. Talking about the rest of the players. So Lucas Jensen didn't have much to do. I am nervous about his kicking. I am nervous about his confidence and ability to come claim things. But, neither of those things cost us yesterday, so I can't say too much. I thought Ryan Leonard was good again, obviously involved in the first goal. Joe Bryan, actually, if you look at his stats, most tackles, most interceptions, most touches of the whole team yesterday. So Joe Bryan, he had a decent game. Yes, okay, he had his involvement in the goal. And I think the problem is with Joe Bryan, because he does look quite lax in his approach, at times it can underestimate the things he does do that are positive. So I thought overall he had a decent game. I've already talked about Jaff. Cooper, again, fairly solid, but he'll be probably disappointed with his decision-making for their goal. In the middle of the park, I thought George Saville, particularly the first half, was excellent. He just sets the tone. He's just... And again, that block in the first half was outstanding. Casper De Norre, each game, he gets better. But I think it's more, not just him getting better, it's us playing to his strengths. I don't actually think his ability's changed. I just think now we're giving him the ball more. And then we're also giving him a player to pass to in Romain Esse. And it's not rocket science, but if you've got a player that's got the ability to find those passes and to link play, well, you just need to give him the ball. And I think that's what we're doing. And maybe I should look at his touches on the ball per game this season versus last season. Maybe I'll do that. I've talked about Honeyman. He'll be disappointed with that, but his overall play was good. I thought Langstaff had a really good game. And based on, this might be controversial, but based on that performance yesterday, and it is based on one performance, right? But if I compare that to performances I've seen from Bradshaw this season, I would rather have Langstaff up front on his own than Bradshaw. You may disagree with that. And again, it's based on one performance. And that's not discrediting Bradshaw, but I think that I prefer Langstaff in terms of his ability to run the channels more than Bradshaw can do these days. It's probably just to do with age. The other thing I wanted to mention as well is I feel like his touch has improved. When I saw him against, what game was it? Was it the Lincoln game? It felt like he couldn't trap a bag of cement. Whereas yesterday, I thought his touch was good. One touch, bringing other players. I thought it was a good performance. I really did. So fair play to Langstaff. I thought that was Femi Aziz's best substitute appearance. He was part of a couple of opportunities we created. Obviously, he was part of the Honeyman chance. He had a chance late on, so I thought he impacted the game positively. And then finally, Mihailo Ivanovic. I thought he looked quite good. I think he's going to be... Obviously, it's too early to say, but I like his physicality. He doesn't look slow. He looks strong. He puts himself about. I think he's going to get a few bookings because he does like to put himself about a bit, and maybe he'll have to learn in the Championship at times. You're not going to be able to do that. But I like what I saw. we're going to have to be patient. He's 19. He's not fully fit, but I really like what I saw, and I think he's going to be a good player for us. I think he is going to play that Millwall number 9 role. But who knows? He could be our number 9 for years to come. And having the likes of him, Coburn, the experience of Bradshaw and Langstaff, that's not a bad front four at all. It's just a shame that we've only got one of them fully fit at the minute, isn't it? What I haven't touched on is a penalty appeal that we had. Watching it live, I can't draw conclusions that it was. I didn't see it back, and it wasn't part of the highlights. So if anyone has got clips of that, do let me know. Because should we have had a penalty as well? I don't know. But look, guys, I'm going to leave it there. 30 minutes in. Hope that was useful. But to summarise, we're playing well. I think we need to keep the faith. We've got some real winnable games coming up now, and we just need to get some more points on the board. And I think as we do that, you will see each week the confidence continue to grow. And all I can say is I'm just enjoying watching my team at the minute. And I've not said that for a long, long time. So, yeah, I'll see you down the den on Saturday against Preston. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for listening as always. Please be sure to subscribe, share, like. You know how much it means to the channel. And bye for now.